Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. Today, you've got Amy, you've got Rachel, and we are raw.
Raw.
All right, so as the holidays approach and, couples start to sort of really have more time to spend together, they're not distracted by stress. Maybe there's, more intimate time that's available. It's an important topic that often gets overlooked that we're going to be discussing today. And, in part of relationships, it's what helps to create emotional intimacy. So oftentimes we talk about the sexual component of a relationship, but we don't often talk about what creates the emotional intimacy part of the relationship. So today, Aim, we are going to focus on a topic that we know as pillow talk. And
Yes.
pillow talk to some can be a very beautiful, vulnerable spot. And for others, it can actually be a very scary, vulnerable spot. And so, sort of highlighting the points and even personal experience is sort of where we're talking about today. And, I encourage our listeners to also dig deep and try to understand how pillow talk can be meaningful for them, and where they actually might feel a bit of insecurity or fear within pillow talk. So, Aim, do you want to take it over and describe pillow talk?
Absolutely. So the way that I like to think about it is it's that intimate moment when you're in bed with your partner and, it could be eye gazing, having like intimate chats. You're just like letting go, talking about your feelings, deepest, darkest, whatever it is that comes up, but just having that moment where you're really connecting. And I look at vulnerability as strength. So being able to really share anything with your partner is beautiful. And when you're in bed with someone, obviously it's a special bond that you have with this person. So I think that it's the right time for couples to connect on deeper levels. Like I know for myself, I say this to my partner. I'm like, the love that I have for you is growing. That is such a good sign. It's not stagnant, right? So when it's growing, you always want to connect with that person on a deeper level and get to know them and really embrace and just having like you're laying down side to side and you could be really close proximity to each other. But it's such a beautiful connection. And I wish that for everyone.
It is. And to your point, actually, as pillow talk shifts, pillow talk shifts as the relationship matures, right? So as to your point, you get closer, you become more connected, your pillow talk might look a little bit different, right? And it becomes almost an area of this unfiltered, honest spot where you get to share sometimes, the deepest, darkest parts of you that you may not otherwise be comfortable sharing.
Right. Or even just what you're feeling about your partner and being able to express that. And for some people, that might want to make them run. It might just be, they get in bed, peck, roll over, see you in the morning. And then there's no communication. But I would want to look at that relationship dynamic from a bird's eye view and say, how closely are you really as a couple? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of issues that come up, and I'm sure you see this a lot in your day-to-day practice as well.
I do. And
Right?
let's be clear, there's many ways to create emotional intimacy. Today we're focusing on pillow talk, but it is one of the ways where, it's almost a metaphor when you think about it, right? To being the naked truth, right?
Yes.
So when you do have this pillow talk, you are in close proximity. If there's laughter, it creates oxytocin and closeness. And, there's touch involved, which is super important for creating that vulnerable space and a safe space to be open and share. But again, some people might even look at pillow talk as a way for silence, right? They might not need to talk. It's just a connection point. And for others, that silence can feel like rejection. So I will highlight that being communicative with your partner on what pillow talk actually means for you and how you would like to proceed with it is important. And then there's also that transition into pillow talk, right? Is it just with no erotic intimacy, or is it after erotic intimacy? And what does that look like? What does the transition look like? So I guess
Yeah.
aim for
Well, I
you.
think it could be both though. Like it could be both. And there's no, one set definition about how this looks. It could be different. Like
Mhm,
some nights you may just be cuddling and talking and then like fall asleep together, right? And pillow talk could happen even during a nap, like an afternoon
mhm,
little siesta,
mhm.
right? It doesn't even have to be at the end of the night. But I love it. I think it's a beautiful way for couples to really connect and check in with each other and tap into that heart, share your feelings, good or bad. But it's a really good way that you're in a calm state that you can communicate with when your emotions aren't compromised. Your parasympathetic nervous system is again at peace and like neutral, and you can just have this beautiful dialogue and connect, and also through touch. That's a big one. Someone could be like caressing during that pillow talk, right?
Well, and
It's
I think, it shines light onto your personality. So, I mean, Aim, you know me, humor is definitely one of my love languages. And so, at times, even in pillow talk, I've thrown out, humorous connector, pieces. And I'll be honest that sometimes it can be taken the wrong way. It can feel like rejection, but it's actually meant to bring someone closer. So, knowing your partner, knowing also their sense of humor and how you work together, I think is super important. But then again, like there is that humorous, you be yourself, right? You show up. I think humor for me in any case is, part of my personality. And, laughter for me is so important in that pillow talk, because it's actually allowing us to bring out our inner child and to be silly and to be free and authentic and to just enjoy the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Humor can be a great icebreaker too. Like if there is kind of an awkward silence, like it's great to sometimes throw in that humor. But yeah, it's another way to just connect with your partner. And as you, I mean, it's like when you think about even just intimacy overall, it's not like the movies, like things happen. Like let's be real, things get messy, and like it can be funny,
Right.
right? So
I
I
like
think
to
that.
think my life can be like a movie, actually. I envision in situations that my life is like a movie.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to say that life can be a bit like a movie. Sometimes it can be a horror show, sometimes it can be a comedy, and sometimes it can be those pure romantic ones.
Yeah.
But pillow talk, in essence, right, is very important. I also think it's important to read the cues of your partner, right? So if they're sort of shifting in mood or going silent, right, what's happening for them, or if they're asking questions and gentle disclosures or soft jokes, right, then maybe they're feeling more safe.
Right. And also, or if your partner has had a long day or they had a stressful day, like maybe that's not the right time to bring up some deep, heavy
Yeah,
conversations.
good
Keep it
point.
light, right? So you can still connect, but it's a way to kind of like support your partner in a way that they need in that moment rather than putting on more burden, more stress, and getting into conversations that they may not have the mental capacity for.
Right. It's funny. I work with clients in many capacities, and some clients, we talk about pillow talk being, an emotional, intimate space to share and get to know your partner. And some people will be like, well, after a one night stand, tried to do some pillow talk and, it didn't go over so well. And it's like, well, that's at the birth of something or maybe nothing. And so sharing your deepest, darkest at that moment might not be the right opportunity. Uh,
Well, for sure.
so,
Also, the one night stand, it's not an emotional connection,
correct.
right?
It's your
So I think
pleasure,
this.
right? Let's not knock it, because a one night stand can be certainly, a great thing to do if that's what you are after. But I think it's important to also recognize that maybe it's not the stage or the forum for pillow talk at that level. Maybe pillow talk in a different capacity of, hey, do you want to grab a coffee? Or do you want to grab something to eat? And, make it a little bit more tender in that
Yeah,
area of pillow talk.
for sure. Reading the room.
Yes, Always. Right? That's
Yes,
part of the battle for all relationships, no matter what stage you're at, is to understand your partner's cues.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
for
I know
sure.
for me, I appreciate pillow talk. I find it a safe space with my partner to, become closer and to cuddle and hug and to share. I mean, we both lead such busy, busy lives that that's actually a very safe, quiet place for us to connect. And sometimes we don't even talk in pillow talk, believe it or not. It's just the understanding that you feel safe beside someone.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree with that. I look forward to those moments where I can just like melt into my partner's arms. There's no alarm. We can just like be with each other. Your heartbeats start to sync. You're just so calm. It's the most beautiful, safe place. And again, like if you're a listener right now and you're loving hearing this and you don't have this in your life, maybe it's time to evaluate kind of where you're at and what relationship you're looking for and get really specific about things like this,
Mhm.
so you can get closer to it. Because for me, it was when I was thinking about my ideal partner, I had a very specific image about like what I wanted to attract. And it's like all of that has been manifested.
Oh, that's amazing. So the power of manifestation, right? That's actually a big trending word right now, manifestation, and you can see it across the board on so many different platforms. But I think, yes, you're right to probably evaluate how important pillow talk is for you and to communicate that to your partner. And if you're not in a relationship, interestingly enough, you can be vulnerable with yourself and have pillow talk as well, create that safe space for yourself just to even do deeper thinking, become more self-aware, right? Pillow talk doesn't
Pen and
necessarily,
paper in bed
yeah,
that could
it
serve the same thing, or voice notes
correct.
to yourself.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be with somebody. Pillow talk is, really at the end of the day, shutting off all the noise in the world and just being focused with either yourself or somebody else and being able to be deeper in your thoughts, more vulnerable and shared.
Yeah, it's truly a beautiful thing. I think, again, vulnerability is strength, and learning how to feel, and embrace that and be able to communicate it is such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and if we are talking about partnership though, there is this sort of afterglow window that's talked about, which is like 20 to 45 minutes where bonding can deepen, okay? Or it can disconnect, widen. So you have to be careful, right, to again psychologically understand what's happening for you and your partner within that 20 minutes to 45 minutes, sort of after either you crawl into bed or there's, erotic intimacy, and making sure that you're becoming connected, right, in that sort of quote unquote pillow talk perspective.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I guess, I would tell everybody to get naked in pillow talk, both
Yes.
physically and mentally, and to become vulnerable with your external and your internal, and whether it's with yourself or a partner, to become unfiltered and to become honest and even to find the humor or your inner child or feel comfortable sharing what is most meaningful to you.
Yeah, opening up your heart and feeling like it's a safe space to do that, whether you're with someone or not, right? Even with yourself. Yeah,
Good.
awesome.
Okay, so as the holidays approach, we encourage you to engage in some good old fashioned pillow talk.
Yes.
And until next time, we are.
Raw.
Peace.
Thanks for being here.